Hello, and welcome to Soft Skills with Mishell Quinn. Our agenda today. What are soft skills? How do employers benefit from soft skills? And how can you apply soft skills to your resume? Welcome. My name is Mishell Quinn. Just to give a little background about myself, for 8 years, I was a single mom of 7 children. I ran my house basically like I ran a business, from schedules to menu to managing a budget. Um, the schedule was important so that all of my children were on the same page as to what we were doing and at what time. The schedules were posted on the refrigerator. Chores were a part of that schedule. Their homework time was a part of that schedule. And then the menus were always posted every week so that the children knew what we were eating, what were available options for snack. And also the menu planning made life a lot easier when going to the grocery store. And then when you're going to the grocery store with little ones, you're telling them exactly what we're getting and nothing else. So it helped out with the budget as well. Creating the monthly budget or even the weekly budget, it made it easier for me to see how much money I had to play with after paying my bills. I worked full time while being a single mom with 7 kids, and I went to school. And while I was working and going to school, I had next to no social supports. So my mom was in Florida. My dad was hospitalized in the VA with Guillain-Barré. So a lot of this going to work full time and going to school, I had to do on my own. I had to take courses online because there was no way that I would be able to um, sit in a classroom setting and having 7 children at the house. So a lot of my schoolwork I did at 10 o'clock because I was putting the children down between 8 and 9:30 because the children ranged in different ages. And the older children, of course, didn't feel that it was fair for them to have to go to bed at 8 o'clock. So I let them stay up a little later. But having that schedule and them knowing what time they had to be in bed was vital to me being able to go to school. I worked full time as a supervisor. I was a program director for 3 programs. I had 180 employees, and of those employees, I hired most of them. I At my previous employment, I assisted clients with their job search, finding housing, um, helping them find employment. I would look at their resumes, help them figure out their availability to find employment, because a lot of people came to us after transitioning from homelessness or they were homeless. Um, and so getting them, helping them, to further transition into um, living a life of a stable life was important to me and to their children that we served. I also helped them identify their barriers, their cover letter. So so now here that I'm here with Scare, I also do the same thing. Um, but my job is more focused on the work readiness. So here at Scare, I help all of our participants identify their availability, which is important because a lot of times there are some things that we don't take in consideration when trying to look for a job and not really knowing what our schedule is. And you think that you have all this time, but there's some things that may not be taken in consideration, like the time it takes for you to prep in order for you to get get dressed and get ready and to look presentable, your travel time, all those things are deducted from your time availability. So you need that time um, to be included because the time gap that you may think that you have, you may not have. Also, I help participants identify their barriers. Um, I help with resumes, your cover letter, and then if you need a mock interview, I'll help you do that. I had stated in a previous video that I went out looking for a job like 20 years after being with the company that I was previous. And so mind you, I haven't had an interview in 20 years. So my first interview that I had when looking for employment, I totally bombed. Mind you, I was one who would give these interviews. I was the one who was always the interviewer. So when I had to sit in the other seat, being interviewed, I was nervous. I was so nervous. My hands were clammy. I was tugging at my clothes um, and I couldn't really think straight because I was put on the spot. And I mean, I knew I was qualified, probably overqualified for the position that I was going for, but I bombed. I bombed that interview. And so I wish that I would have had a mock interview previously, so that, maybe I could talk myself through some of those nervous moments that I had um, with my previous interview. But I went on to do another interview and obviously got the job. My information is below, Mishell@scareinc.org. So if you have any questions or you need help or assistance with anything, you can contact me there. So what are soft skills? Soft skills in the workplace is clear communication, listening skills, self-control, positive attitude, assertiveness, conflict resolution, problem solving, empathy, patience, etiquette manners, self-management, time management, confidence, focus, common sense, situational awareness, improvisation, enthusiasm, optimism, depersonalization, taking responsibility, and a sense of humor. Communication. Communication skills are the ability you use when giving and receiving different kinds of information. Some examples include communicating your new ideas, your feelings, and even an update on your project. Excuse me. Communication skills involve listening, speaking, observing, and empathizing. It is also helpful to understand the difference in how to communicate through face-to-face interactions, phone conversation, and digital communication like email and social media. So when listening, we want to be actively listening and making an effort to hear, understand, and retain the information that's being communicated to us. So sometimes you may find that you're engaged in a conversation with someone and you may feel that they're only listening to respond. And that's something that we need to be aware of if that we're not doing that. You want to listen and hear what the person is trying to say, what they're trying to communicate. Try to understand from their point of view and respond from that point. And telephone communication lacks nonverbal cues. So when we're having phone conversation, we don't get the facial expressions or body language to help us decode the message. So we must focus on every word that's being said, the tone in the voice, and that's being used. We compensate for the absence of the nonverbal cues by adding more weight to the words that are being said and the tone of the voice when being used. And then in text messaging, when we text each other using phone or PDA systems, we only have the words to send our message and to receive it. And we're missing the tone of voice, the facial expressions, the body language, and the presence to help us decode the message. And to complicate matters, when we text, we use shorthand like LOL for laugh out loud. We also misspell or shorten words because we don't want to use a tiny thumb board to write a long message. And because we're in a rush to send the message out, um, sometimes things are misspelled because we're in a rush. And it's because like it's instant messaging. So a lot of miscommunications happen through text message because there's so much that's being left out of the text message that we kind of put in what we think is in there. So sometimes we might misconstrue just a regular text as somebody being angry when they're really not. Email is equivalent to texting with an added disadvantage. In email communication, there is a delay between messages being sent and received and replied to. This prevents a solid thread in conversation from forming. When someone sends you an email, they are in a frame of mind that may or may not be the same later. And when you read and reply to their email, you might be replying to them like in a different mindset. Your reply is now floating in a different time, and it may link to the original message, or it may be irrelevant now. The same applies to your reply. There may be a delay between the time you send it and the time that the other person reads it. Communication includes verbal, nonverbal, and visual, and written. So your verbal communication, you should use strong, confident speaking voice, use active listening, avoid filler words, and avoid industry jargon when appropriate. Nonverbals is notice how your emotion feels physically. Be intentional about your nonverbal communications. And then written is strive to simplicity. Don't rely on tone, and take time to review your written communication and keep a file of your of writing you find effective and enjoyable. Verbal communication. Use strong and confident speaking voice. Speak slowly, because when you're speaking too fast and rambling on and on and on, you appear to be nervous. Avoid filler words. A filler word is an apparently meaningless word or a phrase or sound that marks a pause or hesitation in your speech. And this is something that I'm still working on, so hopefully I get better at this. Common filler words in English are like, okay, right, and stand and I am notorious for the yeah, I think is mine. And stand up straight in your body language is just as important as the words that you're saying. Your non-verbal communications. I try to explain this like to my own kids and to other people that I work with, that your body language is also a language. So if you see at the top, you have like openness, which means that like their feet are facing forward, their whole body is facing forward, and they look like they're ready to hear the information that you're ready to convey. And then next to them is defensive. The legs are crossed, arms are crossed, they are not open at all. Below, you have evaluation. And so their legs are crossed, but they're not towards each other. So they're away. So their legs are crossed away from the other person. And then they're kind of looking over the shoulder at them. Suspicion, their legs are face forward, but they have like one arm crossed under the elbow of the other. And you have like readiness, and then boredom. Boredom is like they're slouching down, arm, over their stomach while they're, resting their head on their hand, showing that they're bored. So like imagine you are the one delivering information in a meeting, and then this is the way that someone is sitting in the meeting as if they have something else to do. With this being said, like you have to be very conscious of what your body language is saying, you know, um, and then you have at the top expectancy and then frustration. And then, I want to go down to the bottom where it's just the contrast between confidence and insecurity. So in confidence, like they're sitting straight up, feet are straight up, hands are in the lap. But then the insecurity, you could see that they're tugging at their clothes. And so like, or in fidgeting, I could say that that was basically my body language in my first interview. So sad. Written communication. So some job descriptions may ask for strong written communication. There is a reason for this. Um, they may ask you to write memos, help with employee manuals, faxes, instant messages, letters and emails. I had to help create and write an employee manual. This is not easy. Everything had to be well written and precise as to what we wanted to convey to the employees. And then also too, you have to look at these manuals as if like they can be picked apart by, someone looking for a way out. Faxes are not only read by the person that you address them to, sometimes there's a fax machine in the common area of business. So that's where, and so the person that you're writing the fax to may not be the only person reading it. Instant messages, again, like we said, that your words mean a lot, and there's a lot of weight on the words that you're writing in an instant message. So you want to make sure that you have strong communication skills when writing instant messages, because those instant messages do not contain body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice. So you have to know how to set the tone in your instant messages, in your letters, and your emails. Professionalism. Professionalism is having a positive attitude. Believe that you and your work are important. Show that you enjoy your work. Think before you speak. Do not gossip. Be enthusiastic, considerate, cooperative, and courteous. Professionalism is very important in the workplace. You have to believe that your work is important. Otherwise, why are you even there other than to receive a check? And believe me, an employer can tell if you're there for the company and if you're there um, as a popularity contest or um, to just obtain a check. Show that you enjoy your work. Um, I know that you may have heard that if you do what you love, then you've never, if you do what you love, then you've never worked a day in your life. And so that's important. And it's, yes, we want to get a job, any job, to have financial stability for our family, but we also deserve to work where we feel comfortable and to do what we like to do and do what we, that we enjoy doing as employment. So it's just show that you enjoy your work. There's like an extra, I want to say like magic when people enjoy what they're doing and then you see the outcome of what they created and what their work that they produced. You can tell when someone really enjoys what they're doing. Think before you speak. This is so important because just like a piece of paper, once it's crumpled, it can never be straight again. And so thinking before you speak, because once those words leave your mouth, you can't retract them. You can say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it, but it's already been said. And you can't get those words back. You can apologize, but you can't get those words back. Do not gossip or complain. So as adults, we have to understand that our place of employment is not a high school. There's no need to gossip or complain. There are chains of commands. So if you have a complaint um, about an employee or what they're doing or what they're not doing, you can either speak to that person face to face, pull them aside, or speak to the person next in command that will assist with that issue. But to walk around and gossip and complain, it doesn't really reflect well upon you. It makes you look a certain way and not so much that person that you're gossiping about. Um, so a lot of times when people are gossiping or backbiting, they're trying to make someone else look bad. But in reality, it just makes you look bad, especially the more people that you gossip and complain about. Be productive, take initiative, maintain effective work habits, manage your time, provide excellence, be resilient, develop self-awareness, and build healthy professional relationships. Being resilient is to learn from your mistakes. It's okay to get things wrong. It's okay to make a mistake. Just learn from them and move on. You are not the mistakes that you make. Like every day we're learning how to do something, and hopefully every day we're learning how to do something new. And so when learning how to do something new or learning how to master things, we're going to make mistakes on the way. And part of understanding our own humanity, you have to understand the humanity of other people. And so if you're in a company where you guys are learning and growing together, you guys have this mutual understanding. I make mistakes, you make mistakes. It's okay. We're going to learn from them and move on. Self-awareness, you want to acknowledge your own triggers and the way that you respond to them. This is very important because sometimes work relationships are broken just because someone has um, responded negatively to a trigger. Top 10 work ethic: attendance, character, teamwork, your appearance, attitude, productivity, organizational skills, communication, cooperation, and respect. Tardiness, showing up late to work. Coworkers began to question your ethics and your discipline, and tardiness can affect productivity. Not only does it cut down your time in being able to produce the work that you've been tasked to do, but then also too, tardiness is a disruption into your coworkers' life, especially if you're in a business setting where one coworker can't leave until you show up. So then you've caused a delay in a coworker's schedule because you showed up late, and which isn't fair. It's not fair to the company, and it's not fair to the coworker who may have to stay to cover you, and then you show up late, and then multiple tardies. You know, it's a disruption just in the company, period. Appearance. Dress for success according to your work environment. Office attire should be worn in the office. Gym clothes are appropriate for working in the gym. You should wear you should only wear gym clothes and yoga pants in the work environment that requires them. Where I came from, this was a really big issue, because I worked mostly with women, and there was sometimes the employees tended to not dress appropriately in the office setting. They would become relaxed and laxed in what they were wearing. Um, multiple multiple times we had meetings regarding the work attire. You would have people coming to work in their yoga pants, in sweats, uh, wearing gym clothes, wearing revealing clothes. Um, there were occasions where I had employees show up with a do-rag on and sagging pants. You know, all that's nothing's wrong with those choices of attire, except that they chose to wear it to work, in my work environment. So you want to dress according to the work environment that you were hired in. You know, some jobs they'll allow you to wear those items of clothing, but just make sure that you adhere to the dress code of your employer. Productivity. You have quantity, efficiency, and quality all add up to productivity. So quantity is lots of tasks that are completed. How many things did you how many tasks did you complete? How much did you produce? Also, little effort was wasted. So that means that you're not making so many unnecessary mistakes, that you got this like the back of your hand, that you've learned, you know, to you've learned what you needed to do to either work the program or to just be efficient at your job. And then quality, like not only were you efficient, you know how to do your job, but you know how to do your job well. You know, it's like someone who knows how to ride a bike, but then there's somebody who knows how to ride a bike well. So just having quality work as well. The importance of problem solving skills in the workplace. You develop intuition power, increase brainstorming ability, boost forecast senses, help the organization out of the problem, make the impossible possible, increase trust and credibility, makes you makes you a standout, propose solutions, decision making, self development, develop as a challenge taker. So um, there's a lot of people that just want to sit back and just watch other people and just stick to their, like, this is my job, this is my lane, I'm staying in my lane, you know, like that. I'm not doing that challenge. um, but then there's the challenge takers where it's just like, yes, there's this problem, I'm going to take it on, I'm going to get it done, I'm going to figure this out. And that's valuable to a company. Implementation of solutions, increase confidence, more career opportunities, and save resources and avoid loss. So creative problems solving process, we do this all the time. So in different areas in our life, they're, they use different words, you know, but it's the same thing. So I'm going to go through this chart and then I'm going to tell you like words that you may have heard in the social service system. So it's assessing the situation. Next, you're exploring the vision, formulating challenges. So you're getting clarity on what the problem is. Exploring ideas, formulating a solution, exploring acceptance, and then formulating a plan. So it's like you identify the problem, you clarify what the problem is, and then you start creating a solution to that problem that you think might work, and then you implement it, which is the action step. So with that being said, you identify the problem. Next, you identify the barriers. Next, you come up with a solution, and then you take your action steps. So I'm sure you guys have heard this. So we do this all the time. It's just it's reworded, rebranded as problem solving, but we problem solve all the time. Teamwork. Teamwork is the collaborative effort of a group to achieve a common goal to complete a task in the most effective way. Identifying the common goal. So when working as a team, we have to identify like what the goal is. And once we reach that goal, that is the success of the entire team. So as long as the team has identified the goal and is working towards that goal, that is teamwork. Time management. So we have this time management thing. So it's basically what we do first, second, third, and then last. So if something is urgent and important, we want to do that now. An example of that would be addressing an angry customer or angry client. You don't want to put them off. You want to put that fire out immediately. Projects that have a deadline, you want to do those as soon as possible. An urgent request from your boss, you do that now. You drop what you're doing and you do it now. So important and urgent means that you do it now. So then you have next, you have important but not urgent. So those are the things you might schedule to do. So something that has to do with customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction, a planned project, a strategy, like a strategy meeting, or to research something, you know, you can schedule to do that. Something that's not important but still urgent, you can delegate that. Delegating means that you get somebody else to do it because you might have something that's important and urgent that needs to be done. So if you have something that's not important but yet still urgent, you would delegate someone else to do that, like paying a bill. You can have accounts payable do that. Data entry or clerical work, you can assign an administrative assistant to do that. Booking a flight, again, that's like an admin thing. Not to say that admin job isn't important, but we're saying that the task, it's not important, but it's urgent, which means that it's not important, but it still needs to get done. So you delegate it to someone else so that it gets done, not necessarily by you, but by somebody else. Something that's not urgent and not important, then you don't even need to schedule that. You can just write that down and do that at your leisure. Um, it says email thread of a meme, posting Facebook pictures, watching ESPN clip, coworker gossip, which there really shouldn't be any coworker gossip. Changing picture on Twitter. Yeah, not important, not urgent items. Benefits of soft skills. Um, the benefits of soft skills is to improve employee engagement, more pleasant work environment, more productivity, more efficiency, less conflict, less confusion, better customer service, and more profit. And with the having a more pleasant work environment, you have to take into account that you're in your work environment for the majority of your day. So even when you're off of work and you go home, that's busy time. It's busy time and sleeping time. Because so let's say that you spend like 8 hours at work, you spend 2 hours, I would say, preparation time. So that leaves like 14 hours left, which is that 8 out of those 14 hours would be sleeping time. So that leaves you 6 hours with your family. And that's if you don't have to go run out, go grocery shopping, or hit Walmart because somebody needs shoes, or do something else after work. But even when you're at home, that's cooking time, that's preparing your children for school, checking homework. If you're going to school, checking your homework. So your most productive time that you're spending is at work. So you want to make sure that you're helping to contribute to a pleasant work environment. When your coworkers feel that they can depend on you and um, that you're dependable and um, you have integrity and um, that you're a part of the team, that in that builds a, a positive work environment. You and then because you guys have this open communication, you guys know how to flow together, then work becomes more efficient. And then there's less conflict because everyone's trying to work together because you've identified this common goal. And you've also identified like what your job description is, which um, is less confusion, and you just work more together to try to help each other out. Top 10 soft skills for employers is time management, communication, adaptability, problem solving, teamwork, creativity, leadership, interpersonal skills, work ethic, and attention to detail. Soft skills for your resume. So leadership skills. If you want to convey that you have leadership skills, you may use words like decision making, delegation, management, mentoring, and motivation, strategic planning, communication, cross functional collaboration, ethics and accountability. This is so important, ethics and accountability, because an employer wants to know that you're going to take personal responsibility and accountability for what you do and what you've produced. So you need to be able to say, yes, I made a mistake, and yes, I will try to do better next time, as opposed to, yeah, this mistake happened. It's not my fault. It's because of this person and that person and this person and that person. No, we need to take accountability for our part in what happened and what we can do next time to make sure that this mistake doesn't happen. Conflict management. And again, with conflict management, it's communication, listening to the other person, trying to figure out where they're coming from, and then trying to get them to understand where the other person is coming from and kind of meet at a mutual place. Feedback. Um, it's nice to give feedback, but also to to be able to receive the feedback. Even in a leadership position, you need to be able to receive that feedback if your team's going to get better. Team working, some words to convey that you have good teamwork skills is collaboration, problem solving, team planning, hosting meetings, networking, lines of communication, team building, flexibility and adaptability, motivation and support. Oops, sorry. Some things to convey problem solving, seduction and induction reasoning, logical and critical thinking, creative and conceptual processing, attention to detail, collaboration and teamwork, research and analysis, effective communicator, decision-making, brainstorming, prioritization, and following through. The follow through. That, oh man, I had to work on that for so long. And it was because I would delegate things, or I would feel that as a leader, this was when I was younger, as a leader, I would delegate tasks or have meetings and tell my staff what they needed to do or what needed to be done. And I would assume that it was just getting done because I said so. And I wouldn't check up on them until like it needed to be reviewed. And then when it came to review time, then I have to like correct all these mistakes because I didn't follow up or follow through with making sure that they were completing the task. So yeah, that was something I had to learn the hard way. Next is communication. Active listening, which we went over earlier, like listening as being part of the conversation, not listening to just respond. Nonverbal communication, public speaking, written communication, presentation, storytelling, interpersonal skills, confidence, clarity, respect, and support. And so these items you can put on your resume. Like even if you don't have any work experience, you can still put some of these things on your resume if they fit you and if they suit you. But if they are on your resume, you have to be ready to give examples as to why. Why do you think that you have written communications, great written communication skills? Why do you think that you're great at mentoring and motivating other people? Why do you think that you're great at team building? Or what makes you good at decision making? So you have to be able to express why you think that you have these soft skills, especially if you don't have any work experience on your resume and you just have soft skills on your resume. Just be ready to answer that question, like why do you feel that you have these soft skills if you haven't had a job doing this, and that will come up in the job interview. So just have your story ready. That kind of shows off your soft skills. So this is the end of my presentation. Soft skills are essential skills. And again, if you have any questions, you can contact me at Mishell@scarinc.org. And just know that your soft skills are important and employers are looking for them. And these soft skills, you don't only have to use them, when looking for work or applying them to the workplace. You can use these soft skills in any organizational setting. You can use them at home. You can practice your soft skills at home with your children. You can even share soft skills with your children so that when they're going out to look for a job, that they could say that they have soft skills as well and put those on their resume. when they're looking for work, especially if we have teenagers at home. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the presentation and have a wonderful rest of your week. Until next month, this is Mishell O'Quinn.